ever get that feeling like you're stuck in a room with a bunch of people who think they're the smartest ones there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know what you mean.
Well, that's kind of the vibe we're going for today.
All right.
We're diving into England's Enlightenment.
Right.
Think John Locke,
Yep.
Alexander Pope, even those advice columnists of the day, Addison and Steele.
Oh, yeah? Interesting.
We've got their writings.
Yeah.
And what we're really trying to figure out is
What?
these guys were all about reason and logic, right?
Yeah.
But did they maybe accidentally create like this intellectual echo chamber?
You know, it's funny because you think about this era, right?
Yeah.
They were so focused on logic, reason.
Yep.
But it also comes off as a little self-congratulatory. Like, they were incredibly influential, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they thought they invented intellectualism.
It's like, hey, look at us. We've discovered reason.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, let's start with John Locke. This guy was trying to figure out the human brain.
Oh, wow.
Which, come on, even today.
I know.
That's like one of the biggest mysteries out there.
Absolutely.
But what's really wild is how revolutionary his approach was back then.
So true.
Like, can you imagine trying to tackle that back then?
Yeah. What was it like?
I mean, seriously, before Locke rolled up,
Yeah.
explanations for how we think, how we learn,
Uh,
it was all tradition,
right.
religious doctrine.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But Locke, he's like, nope, I'm bringing science into this. It's all about observation,
Interesting.
evidence,
Wow.
like what we call empirical evidence now.
It's like he was laying the groundwork for
Yeah.
like modern psychology, the way we understand learning, acquiring knowledge, like the whole thing.
He was like, let's stop assuming and start investigating.
Totally. And that shift to empirical evidence,
Oh, yeah.
that must have been huge,
Oh, absolutely.
given what people believed back then.
I mean, talk about a radical idea.
It really was a seismic shift. And you think about it.
Yeah.
His ideas about natural rights, the social contract,
Yeah.
limits on government power,
Right.
all that came from how he saw the human mind, capable of reason, independent thought, the whole 9 yards.
It's like he was saying, hey, we can think for ourselves.
And those ideas weren't just like theories, you know, they
All right.
actually changed things.
Totally.
Political thought, foundations of modern democracies. I mean,
It's mind-blowing.
yeah.
So Locke's impact, it's way bigger than just
yeah.
trying to understand the brain.
Way bigger.
He was basically like rewriting the rules
Totally.
between individuals and like authority figures.
He was like shaking things up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got Locke revolutionizing political thought,
Uh-huh.
but let's switch gears to Alexander Pope.
All right.
Now this guy,
Oh, yeah.
he could make anyone feel a little intellectually insecure
Oh, he was sharp.
with his words.
Oh, yeah. He was a master of language. Oh, yeah.
Especially that heroic couplet.
Uh-huh.
It was like his weapon of choice.
And he knew how to use it.
Oh, yeah. He was so precise.
But his wit, it wasn't just for show. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it was like this tool to expose hypocrisy, to critique what was going on in society.
It's like he was setting this really high bar
Totally.
for intellectual discourse,
Yeah.
you know, like daring other people to keep up with him.
To match his wit and his insight.
Exactly.
I'm just curious, though.
Yeah.
How did, like, everyday people react to his work?
That's a good question.
Was it inspiring, or was it more like,
Yeah.
well, I could never be that clever?
I think it was a bit of both.
Really?
Yeah, Pope was popular,
Okay.
but his stuff definitely appealed to a certain crowd.
Like the sophisticated types?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, those sharp critiques,
Yeah.
as entertaining as they were,
Uh-huh.
they could also make some people feel left out.
Like they weren't in the club.
Yeah, and it kind of reinforced that whole idea.
Of intellectual elitism.
Right.
Exactly like being smart was a status symbol.
Okay, so in a way,
Yeah.
Pope was feeding into that.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
That intellectual elitism we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Locke changing the game with political thought.
Okay.
Pope over here wielding his wit like a weapon.
Yeah.
Now let's bring in Addison and Steele.
Right.
These guys took a totally different approach.
Oh, yeah. How so?
They decided everyone needed their advice
On what?
on how to be more rational.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Well,
Okay, yeah.
Addison and Steele, they were fascinating.
We really were.
I mean, their periodical, The Spectator,
Right.
it was like this blend of entertainment and moral instruction. I mean, they covered everything.
Really?
Fashion, literature.
Oh, wow.
And like you said, how to live a more rational and virtuous life.
It's like a window into their world.
Totally. Their essays were so popular.
They were really popular.
It's like everyone was reading them.
Yeah, everyone wanted to know what they had to say.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Giving advice on how to be rational,
Right.
it kind of clashes with the whole idea of independent thought, don't you think?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's like one of those weird contradictions of the Enlightenment.
Yeah?
They're celebrating individual reason,
Uh-huh.
but they're also acting like they're the experts on it.
Or the authorities on how to think for yourself.
Exactly. And the funny thing
Is that?
people loved it.
They ate it up.
Yeah, it shows you how much people wanted guidance
Yeah.
in this new world of intellectualism.
So it's like they're saying,
Yeah.
okay, reason is great,
Uh-huh.
but let us show you how to do it right.
We've got the manual.
I mean, it seems like this whole period was just,
What was it like?
we've got it all figured out. So listen up.
Yeah, they were pretty confident.
But let's be real here.
Okay.
Reason and logic, those weren't exactly brand new concepts, were they?
No, definitely not.
I mean, those ideas go way back.
Oh, yeah. Ancient philosophy.
Right.
They were talking about this stuff way back when.
But the English Enlightenment,
yeah.
it had its own little twist.
It did. What was it?
It was all fueled by this sense of national pride.
Oh, really?
England was becoming a global powerhouse, making all these scientific advancements. So they
Yeah.
were like, we're leading the way in this new intellectual era.
They were riding that wave of progress.
And feeling pretty good about it.
And you know who could blame them?
But okay, fast forward to today.
All right.
Why should we even care about all this?
That's a great question.
Like this intellectual self-congratulation.
Yeah. Why does it matter now?
Well, it's not about judging them, you know?
Yeah.
It's about understanding them.
Yeah.
This era, it laid the foundation for so much.
Oh, it did? Like what?
Individual liberty, democratic principles.
Uh-huh.
Using science to gain knowledge. I mean,
Big stuff.
huge. But when we see their blind spots,
They're flaws.
that feeling of having all the answers,
Yeah.
it reminds us to stay humble, to remember everyone who came before,
Mm-hmm.
and to realize that knowledge,
Yeah.
it's always changing.
It's always evolving.
It's like this good reminder
Yeah.
that even the smartest people
Right.
could get trapped in their own little bubbles.
Totally. And maybe,
Yeah.
just maybe,
We're all susceptible to that.
especially today.
So as you keep learning about the Enlightenment,
Okay.
think about these guys
Mm-hmm.
and what they did.
Their impact.
Do you see any parallels to our own times?
Interesting.
Like, are we guilty of the same kind of intellectual self-assuredness?
That's something to think about.
Definitely something to chew on.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the English Enlightenment.
My pleasure.
It's been pretty enlightening, to say the least.
I agree.
Until next time, keep those minds sharp.
Stay curious.
But don't forget to stay humble.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I try.
You do well.
See you.
See you later. Bye. Bye.